Whatever it costs my cousin in pain and suffering before he died, I will return in full measure upon the woman that caused it.
Growing up in England, the novel My Cousin Rachel is very famous, kind of household name novel. I actually have to confess I'd never read it. So when I read Roger Michel's adaptation of the novel, it was the first time I'd ever read the story. And I read it because I was a big fan of his and had wanted to work with him for some time. We've been developing some other stuff together, and then he said, I've just done this adaptation, and he sent it to me, and I read it, and we had a conversation, and I loved the ambiguousness of the story and the mystery, and I love the kind of gothic element and the suspense and the thriller and the love story, and I was in.
She's here.
What are you going to do with her?
Confront her.
The story begins where Philip, Sam Claflin's character, is extremely mistrustful of me, and there's a kind of 20-minute build-up at the beginning of the film where a picture is painted of my character that is distinctly unlikable, untrustworthy. Perhaps she's a murderess, perhaps she's a villainess, perhaps she's a thief, perhaps she's a crazy person. And then you meet her, and she's very exotic and bohemian, independent and different, and no one like Sam's character's ever met before. So he starts to kind of fall for her really hard and becomes infatuated and tries to own her and possess her.
I've been doing a little asking around. She's notorious. Do you understand?
I'd never met Sam before, Sam Claflin, but I think we connected immediately. He's a really wonderful actor, very incredibly easygoing, very unpretentious, just hardworking, funny, playful, silly, goofy, gorgeous, vulnerable, talented. He's really, I'd work with him again at the drop of a hat. He's a really lovely guy.
Come in. Won't you sit down for a moment?
I believe had I been here, my cousin would still be alive.
Drink. He didn't trust anyone at the end, and I found myself living with a stranger and wanted to hurt me.
We filmed in an old stately home that hadn't been restored yet, so it didn't have central heating. It was of the period. It was quite old and dusty, and so it had an old kind of gothic, haunted vibe to it, which I think really helped for the film.
I know nothing about her.
Or is it you who know nothing?
I want you to be my wife.
Have you gone out of your mind?
It seems that people come away from the film convinced that she's guilty or convinced that she's innocent, or they're very undecided and need to see it again. And I think that's a good takeaway. It's creating debate and passionate arguments amongst film goers, which is, I think, a fun thing.
Now go to bed like a good boy. Go.